Hello and welcome to Class 13. For Class 13, there are a number of practice stories, all of which you have done. The first 5 or 6 are from the start of the term. They're very short. And the last one is slightly longer. This video is on YouTube. I will include a link. And if you go to YouTube, you can read a transcript of all the stories in case you get stuck. If you have any questions, you are very free to send me an email and I'll help you out. So here are the stories. 1. My family is fun. I spend all my time with my family. On Monday, I go to school with my brother. In school, we go to the library and borrow and read books. On Tuesday, I go with my father to the supermarket and we buy eggs and milk to make breakfast. And then on Wednesday, my father and we go to Aswan Mountain. In Aswan Mountain, there's a zoo and they have a capybara. It's very interesting. On Thursday, I go to my grandmother's house with my mother and we eat chocolate cake with a glass of milk. And then the next day, my mother takes me to a ramen shop and we eat delicious ramen. On the weekend, on Saturday, I go with my sister to the park. And then the next day, I go with my brother to a swimming pool. And my family has much fun together. Story 2. There's a boy. He's upstairs watching television. And he's thirsty and hungry. And he says, "Mom, can you bring me a cookie?" So his mother takes a cookie from the cookie jar. She puts 2 cookies on a plate and she brings them up to the boy and gives him the cookies. The boy eats the cookies and then he says, "Mom, I'm thirsty. Can you bring me a glass of milk?" The boy's mother goes to the refrigerator. She opens the milk. She gets a glass of milk and she pours the boy a glass of milk and she brings it upstairs and gives him the milk. And the boy says, "Can I have a straw?" The mother goes back downstairs. She gets a straw. She comes back upstairs. She gives the boy the straw. The boy drinks the milk. And then he says, "Mom, my face is dirty. Can you bring me a face cloth?" The mother goes to the bathroom. She gets a face cloth. She gets it wet with warm water. She wrings it out. She brings it up to the boy and she gives the boy the face cloth. The boy takes the face cloth. He cleans his face. He takes the plate. He puts the cup on the plate. He puts the face cloth in the cup and he gives it to his mother. And he says, "Thank you." Story 3. I have a friend. My friend's name is Mimi. Mimi is not a mouse. Mimi is a little girl. She's not Mickey Mouse's friend. She's my friend. Mimi is 7 years old and I'm 7 too. Mimi likes many colors. Mimi's favorite colors are red, orange, yellow, green, and purple. My favorite colors are brown and green. Together, Mimi and I draw pictures. We always draw the same picture. I take the piece of paper and I draw a tree and grass on the paper, and then I hand the piece of paper to Mimi. Mimi takes the picture and she draws a rainbow behind my tree. Our tree and pictures of rainbows are very beautiful, and our teacher tells us they are wonderful, and she always hangs them in the classroom for everyone to see. Finished. 4. Rina. Rina has a dog and she lives in Fukui City. Her dog's name is Snowball. Snowball is not white. Snow is white, but Snowball is not white. Snowball is brown and he is a dachshund. And in summer vacation, every day, Rina takes Snowball for a walk. She walks down to Oswell River and she goes to the water because Snowball likes to swim. After Snowball has a swim, they walk along the river until they reach Phoenix Street. Then they walk up some stairs and walk along Phoenix Street until they come to a park. In the park, Rina likes to play in the swing, and Snowball runs around the park checking out many different things. After the park, they walk down the street a little further until they reach a convenience store. Rina ties Snowball outside the convenience store, and she goes inside and buys ice cream, 2 ice creams. Then Rina and Snowball sit on a bench outside the convenience store and they eat their ice cream together. After they've eaten ice cream, Rina and Snowball walk home and they watch television all day. The end. Mia. Mia is in bed. It's bedtime. Her mother has read her a story, and Mina asks her mother to read another story. And her mother said, no, it's time for bed. Her mother gives Mina a kiss on the forehead, and then she sits in a chair and waits for Mina to fall asleep. Mia lies in bed for a moment, but then she gets out of bed and she walks over to her dollhouse. She puts each doll in their bed. She puts a blanket over each doll's and gives each a kiss on the forehead. Then she walks back to bed and she says, "Good night, dolls." Then she looks at her clock. "Good night, clock." And then she sees an empty glass of water. And she says, "Good night, Mia gets out of her bed. She walks down to the bathroom with the glass. She fills the glass with water and comes back. She gets back into bed and she says, "Good night, water." And then she looks at her mother and she says, "Good night, Mom." And her mother says, "Shh, go to sleep." Finished. Next story. Neighbors. Hello, I'm Nicola. My family, we live together in a very small house, and we live between our grandparents. On the right side of our house lives my grandmother Kiki. Grandmother Kiki is my mother's mother. On the left side of my house lives my grandmother Mimi. Grandmother Mimi is my father's mother. Sometimes Grandma Kiki comes over and borrows eggs from our refrigerator. She likes to make cookies. They're very delicious. And sometimes my father borrows rice from Grandma Kiki's house. Sometimes Grandma Mimi comes over to our house and she borrows strawberries from our refrigerator. She makes cake, very delicious cake with her strawberries. And sometimes my mother goes to Grandma Mimi's house and borrows potatoes for dinner. My family lives very close together. Finished. Margaret. One day, Margaret and her father went to Kama Home Center and they bought a tree. It was a pine tree, so it's always green. It's green in summer, it's green in winter. It never turns yellow or orange like other trees because it's a pine tree. They brought the tree home and they planted it in front of their house. And after that day, every day, when Margaret went to school, she said, "Good morning, Mr. Tree." And when she came home, she said, "Good evening, Mr. Tree." And before she went to bed, she always said, "Good night, Mr. Tree." Well, this weekend, Margaret and her daughter, they went to Kama Home Center and they bought a tree. They planted the tree in front of their house. And now, Margaret's daughter says good morning to the tree every day. Finished. The next story is slightly longer. So, Ayakawa. My family has two houses. We have our regular house in Fukui City, but we have a second house in the village of Ayakawa. Our house in Ayakawa is very small. It has one room for the kitchen, dining, and living room. There are two small bedrooms in the back with just enough space for a double bed. My sister and I sleep in one bed, and our mother and father sleep in the other room. Upstairs, there's a loft, and we have a TV in that room, but it only gets one NHK channel. We go to our house in Ayakawa every weekend, and during the summer and winter vacations, my mother and sister and I live there, and our father comes out from Fukui City every Friday night. The village of Ayakawa is a 45-minute drive from Fukui City and located between the Sea of Japan on one side and the mountains on the other. In summer, my sister and I hike in the mountains or swim in the sea. If the weather is nice, we will take a box lunch and walk up the mountains behind the road to our house. There's a road that goes to the top of the mountains, and it takes about 3 hours to get there. At the top of the mountain, there's a campsite operated by Fukui City, and the view is very beautiful. If you look to the south, you can see all along the Echizen Sea coast. And if you look to the north, you can see Fukui Technoport, Mikuni, and all the way to Tojimbo. It's a very beautiful view. On hot days, my sister and I walk down to the sea. It only takes about 10 minutes to walk down to the sea from our house. Now, in Ayakawa, there is a beach, but it's a rock beach, so it's not very popular. Most people like to go to Takasu because it has a nice sandy beach. So Ayakawa Beach tends to be very quiet, but that's okay. we bring an umbrella and a blanket, and we spend all day sitting by the sea and relaxing. And I'm a very good swimmer, so I will swim out to the rocks around Ayakawa Beach and collect horned turban shells. They're very delicious. Usually 10 is enough for a good dinner. Our father, he goes fishing with his friend every Saturday. He has his own fishing boat, and him and his friend go out to sea and spend all day at sea fishing on his boat. My father's a very good fisherman, and he always catches lots of fish because he has all sorts of equipment on his boat to catch fish. But when he comes home, my mother, she won't touch the fish, so he has to clean and cook it. But that's okay because it means that usually every Saturday night we have a delicious fresh fish dinner. Finished. This has been Class 13. As I suggested at the start of the video, please take time to find a partner and work through all the videos, understand them together, and then practice speaking them together. I will post the next video for class soon. Bye-bye.